Ever had a story that literally stops you in your tracks? It sounds so unreal, almost unbelievable. If you haven't, stay right there. We're about to begin the show. Welcome to Unscripted from this beautiful location, Radisson Blue in Arboretum. Let the show begin.
My name is Ruth Kimathi. I have been widowed for 5 years now. My husband passed on in 2016 January, and I've walked through a tough journey through widowhood. But I would like to encourage everyone who is out there that even as a widow, you can make it. It was a struggle at the beginning, but at the moment, I can say God has given me the grace to walk through the journey.
Hi there, welcome to Unscripted. I hope you're keeping well, staying safe, and staying positive. Welcome to our show today with our lovely guest. You look exquisite, my dear.
Thank you.
Very nice, Ruth. I love the look.
Thank you.
Welcome to Unscripted and Radisson Blue. I hope you're liking the home feel. Are you feeling at home?
Yes.
We're trying.
Very homely.
Good.
Thank you.
So tell us about yourself, who you are and what you'd like people to know about you at home.
Okay, my name is Ruth Kimathi. I'm a mother of three. I'm a widow. Okay. I've been widowed for the last, I think now this is the 5th year, since 2016 January, the 3rd of January. Yes, and
you're here to share your story.
Yeah, I'm here to share my story, to let people know that it's not the end of the world when you get widowed. You can. There are challenges, but you can overcome the challenges.
How was it, one, being that close to celebrating 25 years, and then you lose your husband? How was that moment like for you?
It was devastating. It was frustrating. It's left me in a funny vacuum that I really had to work through. Because I got confused. Why would God let us live together for this long? And then when I'm supposed to be celebrating my first silver anniversary, then he goes. We had like 3 days in hospital and we talked a lot, and I never saw death come. I saw him recover and come back home. And when I went to hospital and I was told it's over, I got so confused. I mean, why the 3 days? Why the cost, the hospital cost and all that? And then he lets him go. So it was something I struggled with for many years. I mean, for a number of years before I came to now accept, it is okay that it happened.
Grief takes time.
It does.
You can take us back to what happened. How did you lose your husband? This was 2016?
Yeah, it was 2016 January, actually. On the 3rd of January, we were just at home in the evening. The previous day we had a party and hosted a party for one of my daughter's friends who was graduating then. And since we had given her a bit of support, she requested that I host a graduation. And so I did. And the following day, at around 7:30, I was just warming up the leftovers for the previous day and trying to clear up what was happening. And then my husband tells me I need to take some fruits to a friend of my grandchild.
Some food?
Yeah, some food. So I packed the food and he said, let me go and take to this child who is our grandchild's friend, so that they can also enjoy this food. And he goes out, just gone to neighbors, and had left the car parked outside the gate. So I told him, take the key, and when you're coming in, please bring in the car so that you can put it in the parking. And he picks the keys and goes. And I wait for him. I mean, it never occurred to me there was anything. And then all of a sudden, he see my daughter, the way my table room kitchen it's an open kitchen, so you can see what is happening at the dining and what is happening at the sitting place. So my daughter was enjoying herself, waiting for me to warm food and put to the dining room. And then I see her jump out of the seat and go towards the door. And I'm like, and then immediately she touches the door, she starts screaming. And I just joined in the screaming without knowing what exactly it is. Why are we screaming? But the way she did it, I knew there was a problem. There was a problem. So I also joined in the screaming, and I screamed very loudly. And within a flash of a second, then I had gunshot. And then within a short time, of course, it was a flash of a second, a gunshot. And then someone walks in towards me.
Oh no.
Because he can see me from the kitchen. Okay. And he comes pointing a gun at me, and I can see like the gun is actually smoking, because of the first bullet that has just been released. And I'm so confused, and I'm like, what's happening? The guy is not even covered, and he walks in, and as he walks in, he says, he said, hii ndio ile ujinga sipendi. And for me, the interpretation was...
Stop screaming.
It is because of screaming. So I lifted my hands up and I started apologizing. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I will not do it again. We will not do it again. I'm so sorry. And I said so many sorries. And, and he looked at me he was like... making an assessment of me, and he looked at me up and down, and I could feel the gun right in front of my forehead. Yes, and I'm like, oh my God, if he releases it, then I'm done, I'm gone, and I'm just there. For a flash of a second, I thought about so many things. And then he stepped back and he said, Mama, sitakuumiza. I said, and I told myself, please pick what you want to pick and leave.
You told him that?
No, I didn't. I'm telling it to myself. Now I can't even talk because I don't know what will annoy him and what will... Yeah, so he looks around, stepped down to the sitting room, looks around. There's so many things that he would have picked. There were tablets, there were phones, there was a laptop, all the systems.
He had options.
And he had options to pick. Yeah. And he just looked around and walked out.
What?
Yes, walked out. But when the shooting happened, I heard my husband scream and actually running. I could hear someone saying, wakora, tafadhali tusaidie, hao ni wakora. And then the voice disappeared.
So you had your husband and your daughter?
My daughter, I didn't hear. I didn't even know what had happened. I only heard him, I only saw her actually walk to the door.
Got it.
So I was like, oh, okay, fine. So immediately the guy walked out.
With nothing? With
nothing. He didn't touch anything. He walked out and I was like, phew. I followed. And as I was following now to close the door, my daughter said, Mom, I'm shot. I was like, come on. I mean, this can't be happening.
She said, Mom, I'm shot.
Yeah, she said, Mom, I've been shot. I was like, come on. And the girl that we were doing the party for went into shock. And now she was shaking and making a lot of noise. And I'm so scared that these people will come back again. So I had to do what needs to be done first. Lock them out.
Yeah.
Then I checked my daughter where she was lying down. I asked, where have you been shot? And she showed me it was the arm. And I looked at it and I knew, when I touched, I could tell there's nothing so serious, but it was bleeding. So I picked just a piece of cloth.
You did some first aid?
Yes, and I told her, lie there, don't even lift yourself up, just stay there.
Okay.
Then now this other one girl is in shock.
You tried to calm her down?
I had to calm her down. I actually calmed her down, wrapped her with a blanket and threw her under the bed. I told her, stay.
You threw her under the bed?
Yes, in my bedroom. go there.
Do anyamaze?
Yeah, shut up, because we don't know what is happening. My son was upstairs, and I imagined he would look through the window. So I called him and told him, don't even dare. Shh, lie down. And then now
Where's your husband at this point?
Yeah.
Where's your husband?
I don't know. Then now I'm like, and this girl is asking me, Mom, what has happened? And I said something that probably I wouldn't want to say here. That
what did you say?
Yeah, and I said, I know this is what is happening. I actually mentioned the name of a person that I suspected. Just said, this must be so and so.
So wait, there was a reason for you to have an attack like this?
Yes.
Would you like to share? Not in detail, but why would someone want to come and harm your family?
I think there was a lot of jealous involved.
From who? Friends?
From friends. Yeah. Friends that were very close.
Wow.
And I say this because just before I left the country where I was working, I had just received a call. And the lady, the wife of this person, had just told me that there are people who have called me asking when you're coming back in the country. I was like, why are they asking? And she gave a reason that they see that certain check has bounced. Like, why did they call you? You're not my beneficiary. I mean, your friend. How did the bank know that you know me so that they can call you to tell you that this has happened? So I connected a lot of things. And
so you believe this person was after you?
Yeah, so I think it was all about some money that I had been paid by a previous organization that I had worked for, and probably in my thinking now, it is about kidnapping, getting someone, ransom, and then asking for a ransom.
Okay.
So, and probably I imagine that's why they didn't pick anything in the house there, because the mission aborted right outside when he ran away.
I see.
So by the time I think he was running away, he had not been shot.
Okay.
But he tells me later, because we talked for 3 days before he passed on. And he told me when we started screaming, the guys from outside here ran towards the door to stop us from making noise. And that's when he took off. That's when my daughter heard the father saying that, please do not harm me. Instead of looking through the window, she went and opened the door to see what's happening outside. And when the door clicked, these guys now ran to come and either get access to the house to stop us from making noise or something. But unfortunately, she pushed the door, and the guy outside was pushing. So the more she pushed, the more this other guy pushed. And when he realized that he's going to shut the door, he shot her. And when this is happening, my husband was outside and was held by one young man. And he was telling me that I looked at this guy and I knew I can fight him. But so what he did is actually hit the guy and took off. And that's when he was running. And I think what gave him the need to run is the shot that happened, because when the shooting happened, the first time my daughter was shot, it was so loud. I think it gave him the flight mood, so he was able to fight and run out.
This sounds like a movie. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back and get to hear how this story unfolded. Stay right there. Welcome back. If you're watching before the break, I know it feels like you're hearing a movie script. I feel that way sitting on this end of the seat, Ruth. I can't imagine what it was like being in that moment, seeing all that happening. And like you said, at the back of your mind, you knew who was behind this. Before we get into that, what happened to your husband when he took off, and then what?
Okay, so what he told me in the hospital bed is that when he took off, he went to a neighbor's home and climbed up the wall.
He was chilling adrenaline, eh?
Yes, yeah, because he wanted to drop himself the other side.
I see.
But when he was right on top there, when this guy finished with me and walked out, he shot on the air 3 times. But my husband thought that we are now being finished.
Oh, he's
So
funny.
he asked himself, why am I hiding myself instead of going to save my family? So he stepped back and walked towards the home, walked back to save us. And when now he was walking back to save us, he met with them. And that's when...
What did they do?
They shot him.
Directly?
Directly. He tried to run around the area, trying to avoid them, but eventually they came where he was. He knelt down, lifted his arms and tried to plead with him, but the guy just shot him. They shot him on the upper... What? Yeah, I think this upper rib, and the bullet came out through here. It wasn't even lodged inside. So he laid down there and he was telling me, I decided I'm not going to die. And he was telling me how so determined to live because we needed to live together. And so he walked out, he lied there, waited for them to leave, and when they left, he lifted himself up, felt there was a bit of bleeding, but walked himself to the road. And as he walked, he was calling this neighbor, telling neighbor, kuja, nimeshutiwa kuja unipeleke hospitali. But I think my neighbor was so scared.
No, I wanted to leave. What time is it at this time?
It's around now 7:30 going to 8.
Okay.
So he walked to the roadside and tried to stop vehicles. And he would stop people driving to their homes in the evening, and each person would look at him and say, these are those thieves, because the shooting was heard from very far away. And that he told me he stopped 5 vehicles, and the only one that stopped was a neighbor's car. I even don't know who neighbor that is, but later on he came to tell me he was stopped. And when he was explaining, the neighbor said, achana na hawa ni wale wezi. So he said, now, if everyone does not want to help me, then I don't know what else to do. So as this vehicle moved away, there was a motorcycle guy who brings, who used to supply us gas. So he comes and listens to this story as he was explaining what has happened. Tafadhali nipeleke hospitali. And when this guy said, achana nao ni wale wezi, this guy said, no, I know this guy. Huyu ni mwalimu. I know him. I take gas to them. And he was carrying someone in his motorbike. So he told the guy, step out of this motorbike. And this guy said, you can't leave me here. He said, no, I will leave you because I have to save this one. So he got out the person from the motorbike and picked
your husband?
Yeah, my husband, and asked him to hold him.
Okay.
And he was so determined. He held, and now
bleeding.
Yeah, he's bleeding, and the road was rough. So he rushed to the nearest clinic.
Okay.
It's like about probably a kilometer away from where he picked him. And when they went there, then he was given first aid.
How severe were the injuries?
They were terrible because the part of the liver was crushed, and then the large intestines, the small intestines, because the bullet went across.
What is going through your mind, Ruth? And what are you...
Apparently, I was so strong. I'm amazed. Even later on, I was getting amazed. I was so strong because I was like, immediately I thought someone is doing this because they want to damage this family.
Okay.
I had to get a lot of energy to fight back. So all this time I'm doing all these things, I'm fighting back in my mind that, oh, you've done it, but you'll not succeed. This guy will live, my family will continue and will prosper. There's nothing you can do to stop us. And therefore I have no time to really mourn or feel sorry. The fact that he has been found alive, then he's going to live. And I was so happy. We talked in the hospital and he told me, I asked him, what do you think happened? And he told me, I think it is so and so. He mentioned the same person, yes. I think it is so and so who did this. And I asked why. I've said because they gave me reasons why.
Before we go into, did you seek justice before we take a break?
No, I didn't. And I didn't because immediately the police came in, before I even took now my daughter to hospital to join him in Aga Khan. The police came in and they looked around, and at first I thought I should seek justice. Yeah. But later on, I thought otherwise. I thought, one, especially after the death, I was like, there's no justice that will bring him back. Two, I work outside the country most of the times, so I'll leave the children in danger.
I see.
And I could tell from what was happening, I wasn't going to get anywhere with it because of a few things that happened. The person who came and took statement died. Another person died. That was like, is seeking justice going to help me?
Or is it going to make it worse?
Or is it going to make it worse? If I start pushing towards that direction, then I will focus so much on seeking justice. But my child, the last one was in university. This guy is not going to school. Because then I was paying a lot of fees, and therefore, if I focus on this, because justice also requires money, yeah. I have to engage a lawyer, I have to do this, then what does this mean to this child?
And now you're alone.
Yeah, and now I'm alone. I have to feed the family, I have to carry on with the family projects. So if I put my mind in this, then it means I will forget the most important bit. He's dead. He's not coming back again. And I told God to take over and do. He's a just God.
Amen.
Do justice to me. Punish for me the person. And I said, God knows the right punishment for such a person.
That's so true.
I might just take him to court. He's taken probably in, and I succeed. But probably that's not the right punishment that God wanted. Right. And I said, I want to release it to God. Let God punish the person who really worked through this. And also because it was assumptions, I didn't want to push myself to assumptions. Okay. And I said, let God punish him and give the right punishment, not just that, but to the fourth generation.
Amen.
Yes, because I know he's able to do that. And I left it at that, and I was very peaceful.
Would you say you've forgiven him?
I thought I had. I thought I had, but I realized forgiveness is not very easy.
It's not.
Sometimes I think I've forgiven, but sometimes I go back to it and I feel so much pain. And I sometimes keep on wondering, did I do the right thing? Not too old, but I know God is able to give me the grace to completely forgive and move on with my life, because that's what is most important.
Amen.
And I think the other thing that made me not even bother so much is the peace. I saw his body, and he was so peaceful on the deathbed, so to speak, when I went to see his body. And I thought probably it's more peaceful there. And if really, maybe if he survived, he would survive with a lot of other issues that I said, if that's what God you've chosen, so be it. Give me the grace to move on and to take care of my children.
That takes a lot of strength.
Yes, it does.
Let's take a short break and be right back. Welcome back. Ruth, take me back to just before he died. He said you were with him in hospital for 3 days. You didn't see it coming. On the day of hearing, he has passed on. How did life change as you know it?
Wow, it was such a drastic change. I was called very early in the morning. I saw a phone call from Aga Khan Hospital, and it really scared me. as much as I didn't think about death,
Yeah.
I was so scared because it was 7 in the morning. Why is Aga Khan calling me? And I didn't pick the phone. But after
You had a feeling.
Yes, I had the sixth sense was telling me something is really, really wrong. And Ruth, you don't want to hear. But then when the phone went off, I picked and called.
Okay.
And a doctor answered and I said, I'm Dr. So-and-so and I want your consent to rush him back to the theatre.
Oh, uh-huh.
She just had a surgery a day ago, 1 day ago.
Yeah.
Now, this is the 3rd day you want to take him again for surgery. I was like, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Then I asked,
what
what
happened?
is, he said, his health is deteriorating, we have to rush. And
You said
that
yes.
was it. I said, it's okay. I mean, what else could I do? And then I called my sister and told my sister, and my sister told me, now, prepare yourself, go to Aga Khan. She's my elder sister, so she speaks with a lot of authority.
Uh-huh.
So go to the hospital. When he wakes up, let him find you there.
Okay.
And I told her, no, I'm not going. You go. When he wakes up, tell me. Call me. It was like I was saying, I don't think you will wake up. Now when I look at
You
it.
were scared, yeah.
So, and my sister actually just
She
begged
went.
me and I refused to go. I said, you go, then call me from the hospital. And later on I was like, Ruth, you're stupid, you just go. And I called my firstborn son and I told him, drive me to the hospital, let's go and see your father. And we got onto our Mombasa Road jam. And my sister kept on calling me, Ruth, where are you? I said, I'm here.
Was she
They
there
are
already?
waiting for me. She's already there.
She's already there.
In fact, they had already known what has happened, but they are not telling me. So
Until
when I
you
got
get
to the
there.
hospital, I'm there and this waiting room, I hate those waiting rooms. I'm there and they say, okay, we are here, we are waiting for you. And I go in, I'm pressured, I want to go to the toilet, I can sit down, I can settle.
You're unsettled.
But my mind is not telling me the person is dead. But for some reason I was
Unsettled.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then a doctor comes and says, okay, are you so and so? I say yes. And he says, we did this, we took him for surgery, and after surgery he woke up and crashed. Then we tried to bring him back, he came back, and then he crashed again. And he has not woken up. So I was like, oh, so when are you expecting him to wake up?
Oh.
And he was like, the doctor looked at me with blank eyes. I still couldn't tell.
Just like,
Yeah, and I'm like, and I'm now getting annoyed because he's even
You're
just
not
looking
saying
at
it.
me and you're not telling me and you're not even telling me when you're expecting him to wake up. And I'm like, come on, can you tell me in a layperson's language, what is this crashing? Can you explain to me? And now he goes, explains, he goes round it, and then he tells me, and he has not woken up. Then it clicked in my mind, what is this not waking up? I'm like, do you mean he's dead? And the doctor just did like this, and I was like, wow, okay. What came right in my mind is my status has changed.
Really?
Yeah, that's what came into my mind. Ruth, you're now a widow.
Immediately you thought of that?
Like that. And I was like, the only person who will understand this is a friend of mine who had just been widowed, I think, a year or two. And she was my friend. So I picked the phone and called her right there. And I said, this has happened. Go to my house. Take care of my son until I communicate with you.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, ma'am.
How is the journey of grieving, even now 5 years later? You mentioned the anger, the journey to acceptance. How did you get there? And how are you now?
I think what I kept convincing myself later on is that he's more peaceful dead than alive. And I kept on telling myself, maybe if he survived, he would be crippled.
Okay. So that gave you peace?
That told me. That told me I know what kind of a person he was. And being immobile or being on a wheelchair or being
difficult.
not able to do things for himself would kill him with depression. So I was like, I think it is okay for him to go.
Tell me about the struggle. How has life been since he's gone?
Oh, it's been tough. It's been not easy. It's been tough in many ways. First of all, the loneliness that comes with it, you know.
Were you very close? Was your best friend?
He was my best friend. Oh, he was. He was my best friend. And now he was not there anymore. The house where I used to sit.
Yeah. Does anyone sit there?
Now we do.
Oh, now you do.
Now
Initially,
we do. Before it was difficult.
I know.
It was, though me, I don't sit there because I have where I used to sit. Okay. I would sit and he would sit there and we are facing each other. Yeah. So, yeah, it was tough. The bed, my bedroom, and where I used to sleep. And every time I put my arm to hold him, he's not there. And I'm like, where is he? I mean, he should be here. I should be able to touch him, you know. But then eventually I realized I searched for him and he wasn't coming back. The clothes in the wardrobe, what do I do with his suits? What do I do with his clothes? His socks, his shoes, his everything. And this bed, now it's too big for me. So I actually removed it and I had to replace. I had to buy another bed. I had to buy new beddings. I had to change where the bed was and
you readjusted your
I had to really adjust a lot of things.
And you told me you didn't move house.
I didn't move. I really wanted to move, especially because after the funeral, I needed to go back to work. And I told my relatives I have to go back to work because if I don't work, then the family projects will crumple. The child that is in school will not finish his university. So I need to go back. And I'm not working within the country. I'm working outside the country. So the question was, how do I leave these people in the same house?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I said, I need to rent a house and move out.
Okay.
And my daughter, who was short, told me, Mom, we cannot do that.
She wanted to stay there?
Yes. Oh. I said, Jackie, how will you stay in this house where actually still the bullet can be seen where it hit the wall? She said, I will. He said, if we move out of this house, we'll gratify the devil. We cannot gratify the devil by running away from the house which our father has built for us. We had just completed that house, actually. We cannot move out. We will stay here and no one is going to touch us. You go.
Such a strong family.
Go and work.
How do you make peace with that? There could be someone at home now who's experienced something like that. And they have no idea what to do as a widow or a widower. How do you come to a place of healing? Is it a continuous journey? Are you still on that journey?
I'm still on that journey. It's a continuous journey. It is a journey that sometimes you get a lot of strength to move on. For me, because I'm still fighting.
You're still fighting? I'm
still fighting. I've done so many things at home. A lot of developments.
Good.
Rather to say, you did it, but look at where we are. Well, despite the fact that he's not there, his name lives forever. And even the court, my neighbors requested that we have his name as our court name. So our court is
for the neighborhood.
The court is called by his name. So that makes me very happy. And every time I come and I'm driving through, I see his name is the name of the court. I'm like, oh, this guy is still living. He's still watching. He's still seeing what is happening. And I've just completed also a building that I was doing, something that I had always wished to have. Sort of an arcade or some apartment plus shops. Okay. And when I was thinking about the name, I thought his name would be the best, so that it can live on. And also those who planned that can see he passed on the physical body, But spiritually,
he
he's
lives on.
still there watching and moving with his family. And that gives me a lot of strength.
Amen.
Yeah.
I was going to ask as you finish, what gives you this strength that you've now imparted on your daughter and your children and made to continue?
The fact that actually God, when I go to spiritually I get a lot of strength when I know that God takes care of the widows, so to speak.
He does.
And I know he does. And that gives me a lot of strength that I'm not alone. My children have been very, very supportive. Very supportive. You cannot touch me. You cannot play games with me. They will literally tear you down. And that gives me a lot of strength. Both my sons and my daughter, they will always check who is around me and what this person around me wants with me. And they will really come out to protect me. And last but not least, I have now decided I will not live that lonely life forever. I'm thinking of getting
remarrying or
a companion.
That's a big step.
I know. But
that's a big step. Congratulations.
And I know it's not very easy, especially for African women.
Yes, it's not.
But if I get the right person, I will not want. Yes, I'm ready. I will not want to live that lonely life alone because he is gone. And I have to live on. My children have to live on. They're almost going out, all of them. The last born, I said, is around now 20, actually 26.
So empty nest.
So that empty nest can kill me with loneliness. So if I get someone that is the right person, because also out there are many people who can really play around with widows, just like they play around with young girls. I'll settle down and live.
Okay. If you're watching, hey, here she is. That's a big step, Ruth.
Leave because I think
that means you've accepted, you've healed, and you're in a better place. Thank God for that.
And my parents also, especially my father-in-law, has blessed me.
Amen.
Said, if you want to live alone, fine. If you get someone and you want to live with someone, bring him to me. Let me know who he is. And you have my blessing. So have blessings to move on with my life. And I would want to actually live like that. And I would want to tell the widows that are out there.
Speak to them right there.
I would want to tell the widows out there, it is not easy. And I know there are widows, and everyone is a potential widow, really. So we not need to close ourselves into mourning forever. We will mourn, walk through the mourning, and live our lives and the best way we choose. If you choose to get married, if you choose to live alone, fine. But it is important for us to move on with our lives.
That's powerful. I'm glad it's ended with some smiles. Thank you for sharing your story, Ruth.
Thank you.
You wish you all the very best. May you find that companion and have joy and happiness in your present and future. Asante.
Thank you so much.
And good job with your kids. You've done an amazing, amazing job.
Thank you.
Thank you. To those watching at home, as always, thank you so much for making time for us. What a story, right? What a story. Thank you for watching. Until next week, take care of yourself, keep safe, be kind to each other. Special thanks to Radisson for hosting us. Goodbye and God bless.